And he's frozen.
Perfect timing. Perfect timing.
He'll go. He wasn't wrong. Bye. I imagine he might have to
Start.
leave us and rejoin.
Reset.
Yeah. What a way to kick it off.
You really just want to start at 8 o'clock and.
Right.
That's why he's the vice chair, not the main chair, too.
Is it an hour later or an hour earlier over in Alaska?
Earlier. He was saying it's 7 o'clock his time.
I must be a little too far from Alaska.
Welcome.
Welcome back. Anyway, we'll have to hurry here. I only get so long, I guess. Anyway, call our regular meeting of the Parks and Recreation Advisory Committee of Oregon City to order here. And I guess our first order of business is to approve the, I believe it's the October minutes. Am I correct?
Correct.
So I have a dumb question. Do we have a quorum?
Good point.
To actually take action
Take action on the.
on the minutes?
If, can we ask Tim to step up?
Step in from there?
If Tim's here, yes.
I mean, he should be in,
Yeah, that would be
right?
fine, yeah. Uh-huh.
Yeah,
Good.
that should be a reasonable way to approach it.
Yeah.
Then I would like to motion to approve the minutes from October 26, 2023.
I'll second.
Okay? With Tim at the microphone, we have a motion to approve the minutes for October. All in favor, say aye.
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 I'll go ahead and do a roll call for that.
Okay.
Steve
On
Williams.
my other meeting, we do roll voting, so I apologize.
No worries. Steve Williams.
Yes.
Joyce Gifford.
Yes.
Timothy Lanehart.
Yes.
Ken Wooster.
Yes.
And Tim West.
Yes.
Excellent. Thanks so much.
There we go. Okay. So, our next order of business is to discuss the interview activities we had this evening. And Kendall, can I go at this in any way I feel appropriate? Can I do that way?
Sure, just make a point of just making sure that everyone gets the opportunity to chime in on each
Oh, yeah.
candidate. And,
Oh, yes, yeah.
and some level of a vote to decide on how you want
Yep.
to move forward with your recommendation.
Okay. Well,
I have a quick question. The representative from outside the city limits, are we required to have that person from outside the city limits, or can it be from somebody within?
You're not required to recommend anyone. But the bylaws say that you can have at least 2 non-city residents. We currently have 1. Now, practice has been, at least since I've been here, is they've shied away from that for the most part and tried to focus on just having 1 non-resident part of PRAC. But there's no limitation to you deciding to move away from that and appoint an additional non-resident.
Okay, thank you.
All right.
So here's how I'd like to do this, and the rest of the committee, just chime in and tell me if I'm wrong. We have the two candidates who are currently sitting members of PRAC. I'd like to take up a discussion about the reappointment of those two positions first. If the committee is willing to go at it that way, is that acceptable to everybody?
Yes.
Yep.
Okay. Well, I guess I'll go first, just because I'm talking. Well, obviously, both the candidates, Emily and Tim, and Tim's in the room there, so I'm not going to say anything bad about him while he's sitting there. But I think they both have served very well on the committee. They've been an excellent contributor to the kinds of things that we've been trying to do at Parks and Recreation Advisory Committee. And I see no reason. They have very diverse backgrounds, and Emily brings to the table a very different approach than Tim brings to the table, both very valuable to our committee. And I think that we would be served well to continue their participation. And so from my perspective, I would certainly reappoint both Tim and Emily to the positions. Ken, Tim, your thoughts? Joyce?
I mean, I agree with everything that she'd said, especially something to know with Emily is that she's only had 1 year so far, so she's taken over a different appointment. And I think that she's definitely, I mean, maybe deserves the best word, but I think that she's represented herself well to get a full 3-year appointment. Yeah, I fully agree with both of those recommendations of, reappointing both of those spots.
I agree.
Joyce, you agree? Okay. Ken?
Yeah, I agree as well. And I think that, we have a pretty good head of steam going with the committee as it is. And so I'm a little concerned about too much of a learning curve or a information gap with a lot of new members. So I kind of would like to only add 2 new faces if we have our choice, which I know we don't, but
Okay.
that would be my recommendation as well.
Okay. So with I believe, Joyce, did you have anything else you wanted to add with regard to that issue? Okay.
I think it's good to have somebody on our committee that's also on natural resources.
Yes.
I think that those committees need to have communication with each other, and I think Emily is a good person to do that.
Right. Okay. Well, with that, would anyone there like to make a motion to approve those 2 individuals for reappointment to the positions on the PRAC?
I'll move to recommend that
Yes.
that we recommend appointing those 2 to the mayor.
Excellent. Thank you.
I'll second.
Okay. It's been moved and seconded. Corey, do you need to do a roll call vote on that?
I do.
Okay, and just to be clear, we are recommending a reappointment of Tim West and Emily Lisberg to positions on PRAC. Am I correct?
Correct.
Tim, are you gonna
Okay.
vote?
I have to vote.
No, he doesn't have to vote. Yeah, Jacob said it. We're fine.
Okay, Joyce, I'm going to start with you. Joyce Gifford.
Yes.
Steve Williams,
Yes?
Timothy Lanehart,
Yes.
and Ken Wooster.
Yes.
Thank you.
Okay. So, we have 2 remaining unfilled positions. And so, first, let me ask it this way. Is there interest from the committee to look at filling those 2 positions? And once we get a yes on that, then we can move forward with the discussion of the individuals. I know we don't have to. I think those positions have been vacant for some time, but Is there interest in looking at opportunity to fill those positions? Joyce is
Yes,
shaking
yes
her
for me.
head. Yes?
Yes, for me.
Yep. Okay. So, given that, Ken, would you like to start us off and discuss, your thoughts about the remaining candidates that we, interviewed this evening?
You know, I think my first thought was trying to see if we have a good balance of people with young kids and empty nesters, I guess. And I know grandkids count, and I have grandkids as well, but I think it's really important to, the people that do have young kids that live in town really are the ones that are going to be probably our best advocates and maybe have the greater needs. And that'll be a little bit easier to activate for different things when you think about some of the things that we hopefully will be presenting later on. Kids are important, and and a lot of the business here in Oregon City is raising kids, and I want to try to protect that livability and keep people with young kids involved as much as we possibly can. So other than that, I mean, everybody, I wish we could appoint them all, but I know that we can't. And that would be one criteria that I would probably lean towards.
Okay. Tim, any thoughts, from your perspective?
Yeah, I mean, I want to start with, it's nice to have this many people who have applied, to join PRAG, people who want to get involved, want to help, passionate about parks. I think that's, amazing. And so a big reason why, I myself applied for the committee. But I agree with a lot of what Ken had said. And that speaks to me, who has young kids and, passionate about the parks. But I don't think it's limiting to any of the other candidates that they wouldn't. I just think that each of the candidates that came in today brought a very, I liked how unique each candidate was from the other ones. I think that there's no easy decision on what our recommendation can be. I took pretty decent notes on everyone that's there, and I thought that, 2 or 3 candidates really stood out in what I think that they could bring as a unique voice to our committee, and that they can maybe, be a big part of the advisory portion of it, of where they have expertise or maybe we don't have expertise. Right. I think that we all bring something unique to this committee. And I think that 1 or 2 of those brought more than the other candidates for this cycle. So again, it's nice to have I'm not going to go through names yet. I don't want to be the first one to put out names, but I do think that it's great that we have these options, and I think that it'd be good to have unique voices that can add to the wealth of knowledge that this committee should have for the city.
Right. Good. Joyce, your thoughts?
I agree, especially what Ken was saying, that, we need the variety, but we also need some people with younger kids on the committee,
Yep.
not just our grandkids. So,
Yeah.
there were a couple of people that stood out for me.
Right.
And they have very different skills. I'm looking at the one that on her application said that she was fluent in Spanish, and I think that would really add something to our committee that we could then communicate with those residents in our city where English is not their first language.
Okay. My thoughts follow along with everybody else's there with regard to the excellent diversity we had in the candidates here. There were 2 candidates that stood out for me in the interview, and they have very, very different backgrounds. But I am thrilled that we, for the first time, at least since I've been participating, we have the potential to have a full cadre of committee members. I don't think that's occurred, at least not since I've been around the committee. I tell you what, I'll just go ahead and identify the 2 candidates that stood out to me, and then we can talk about them from there. Certainly, the first one meets one of the criteria that Ken had mentioned, and Tim as well, with regard to having younger children, and that was, for me, was Erin McKellen. She was both passionate about her wanting to participate, and she had certainly the kind of personality, I believe she used the word gregarious, that helped identify, her to me as one of the people that was could be a very good addition to our committee. She had worked, or at least worked around the Tualatin Hills Park and Recreation District. My notes are kind of shaky, I was writing fast, but she wants to bring the community together, and she's currently a resident of OC with a 5-year-old going to winter camp. She knew about a lot of the things already occurring with our committee. So she stood out for me as a potential very good candidate. And the other one was Dave Bone. Very different background. Certainly a funeral director here in Oregon City. I've known Dave for some time. He and I are both in the Optimist organization. He's very active there, very much a leader in that organization. And when he says he's going to do something, he's going to do it. I mean, he certainly brings that different background that certainly I think would be advantageous to us and would help our committee probably go into some areas that we frankly don't get into very often. But Dave is certainly a very effective and excellent speaker. He's good for that regard too. I've had that experience with him. So those are the two names that struck out to me that I thought would be best suited for our two positions. How about anyone else's thoughts?
I agree completely. Those were my starred ones.
Yeah, I mean, that's actually who I had too. But it was tough because I went back and forth, and I kind of ranked all the answers. They do just how we have to do interview applicants, and I had them ranked the highest just on how they answered the questions, their background. I had, I want to speak a little bit on Shannon. I mean, I think I really liked, I hate that we can only accept two because I thought Shannon had a really good interview. I love the active duty portion of her background, working for the military department myself. It's just, I think that's a voice I don't hear enough of when I'm viewing city dealings. It would be nice to have that background and just her occupation, having kids. So she was a really strong candidate. I still have Aaron and David as my two tops that I would probably recommend. So I would back that notion, but I just wanted to note that I thought Shannon was a really strong candidate as well. Yeah, that was my notes on that, Steve.
Ken?
Okay, so I kind of echo everything that we've heard so far. I also really did like Shannon. I am concerned that she would be one of two out-of-city board members, and I think it sounds like it's probably better to keep it at one if we can, as long as we have city residents that are willing to serve. So with that, I really did like David as well. He's another gray hair like me, but that's okay. His kids are still, basically relevant. They're still in high school. He's not so far away from having young kids that he wouldn't understand kind of some of the issues involved around kids and the needs of kids. So I am happy with both. Again, I wish we could appoint them all, and maybe we just try to keep the others kind of engaged somehow. If we can, and I'm sure Erin could probably help us figure that out.
Yes, I suspect she can.
Yeah, and I wanted to back up with Erin's background it's similar to what my wife does. Having that sort of information on how to get outreach there and marketing in the digital age it's an expensive resource. If just to have that type of knowledge is vital in today's society. So I thought that was an excellent point that she'd had there. I mean, I think we're all on the same page and where we're moving with this. And I want to highlight specific reasons why I have Erin above Shannon or why I have her above Sherry is because that is just a vital part of today. And I think it's a big fix to an issue that we currently have with getting outreach out there and can bring that unique perspective.
I agree. Okay. Joyce, you have anything more to add? Okay.
No, and also, and she is the one that had, is a Spanish speaker, so.
Right. Well, with that, I'd look for a motion to recommend, from what I heard our discussion there, motion to recommend Erin McCullen and Dave Bone to the governor. There we go, I've been talking to the mayor, yeah. Anyway, anyone, can you guys there make a motion to that effect?
So moved? How's that?
Oh, yeah, I mean, I would like to make a motion to recommend Erin McClellan and David Bone to the Parks and Rec Advisory Committee to the mayor.
I'll second.
Excellent. We have a motion to recommend those two individuals. Corey, would you like to call a roll call vote?
I would love nothing more. Joyce Gifford,
Yes,
Steve Williams,
Yes.
Timothy Lanehart,
Yes.
and Ken Wooster.
Yes.
Excellent, thank you.
Okay. As I understand it, that completes our meeting activities for this evening. One question, Kendall, before we go. How do you, we obviously make these recommendations to the mayor, and then how do we reach out to the candidates that we did not select, or who does that?
We'll, actually, the city recorder is normally the one who does outreach to those candidates to let them know what the decisions are. And obviously, anyone who is recommended and appointed, I will have the initial outreach to them and have meetings with them to get them acquainted with the Parks and Recreation Advisory Committee. And then we'll go from there.
Well, the only reason I asked the question was, Tim in particular, I believe, recommended that we didn't want to discourage the other candidates from possibly in the future reconsidering, applying for the committee. And obviously, when we speak to them, that needs to be said that they don't, give up on us, that there'll be more opportunities, I am sure.
Right. And there have been times when people haven't gotten appointed to certain committees that outreach has been done by other individuals to recommend other committees as well, because there are definitely some people we want to continue to work with.
Sure. All right. Is Mr. Tim still there?
He
He
is.
sure is.
Indeed,
There he is, right there.
you're doing a great job.
I've been doing it since 7 o'clock this morning. I'm worn out.
I bet you are.
So anyway, if there are no further business, which I don't believe there is, I will adjourn a regular meeting of the PrAC committee for December 7th, 2023.
Very good.
Excellent, Merry Christmas,
Thanks,
everyone.
everyone.